How you
Yo,
doing, Brian?
what's going on? I feel like I just saw you.
Yeah, I think so. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a little tired, but yeah, first day back at school in a couple weeks, and honestly, I felt really refreshed. Like I was actually kind of excited to see the kids. So
See, we had a teacher day today, so no kids. Kids come back tomorrow.
gotcha. So all the
Yeah,
staff was there, and you guys had like back to school meetings and stuff
yeah,
like that.
a little bit of personal development, and uh, yeah, it was good. It was a good little staff day, and kids come back tomorrow. I almost kind of needed it because I left Fresno Sunday morning, and then drove down to LA to called Iowa State CBU duel.
Oh,
So
dude,
I was on the call for that on Sunday, and then got back a little late. Got to hang out with the family. Missed them for four or
yeah,
5 days. Yeah,
man, that was a drive.
it is. It wasn't too bad. I mean, the pass had a little bit of snow, nothing major,
Yeah.
but yeah, a little 4 hour jaunt into LA. Call the duel, and then head home. It took me about an hour and 10 minutes to get home from there.
How was that duel though?
I mean, I talked to Derek beforehand and
Yeah,
Coach Moore, and
yeah.
I mentioned I saw him on the podcast, and we were chatting. Iowa State is tough. I mean,
Dude,
it,
Chittum is looking good.
not only is
Coach Chittum's
Chittum
looking
looking
good.
good, like his. I mean, I thought Feldkamp coming out and just handling Haas.
Yeah.
Took him down, kind of got him in that front headlock, trapped the arm, turned him and stuck him. But yeah, Chittum is wrestling really, really well. And then Bastida, like that,
Yeah.
he beat Schultz on Friday, beat him 4-3, and that guy's good. I mean, even Tarakina, little 25 pounder. Um, yeah, yeah, they got a good team for sure.
Terrakina, I feel like is super hit and miss. Like sometimes he's looking like, dude, this guy's the man. He can be an All American, and sometimes he just comes out super flat. I know like Iowa State came out with something. It was like a day in the life of Kevin Dresser, and I'm a big Kevin Dresser fan. So like anything that comes out content wise that has to do with him, I just try to like just soak it up. But he was kind of ribbing on Terrakina pretty hard. He's like, yeah, Terrakina doesn't listen. When he does listen, he wins. Like when he doesn't listen, he looks like crap. But I'm paraphrasing a little bit. That's pretty much how he said it and what he said. But
That's
um,
interesting because Perriman had a Ethan Perriman had a wrestle off of them, and obviously Cherokee win, but Perriman got to wrestle in the duel. He wrestled Leak from Buchanan. He lost.
yeah,
Leak won, but he was up at 33s. So I don't know. It was a good duel. It was in Outmount Sac. So have you
yeah.
been to their new facility?
No, I haven't. But they have this big old arena now, right?
They do. It's probably I don't know the seating capacity, but I would say maybe I don't know 1,000 possibly. I mean, I guess I could do a little bit of math. They got like 7 rows of bleachers, and it's the whole basketball court. But no, these two massive. Well, it's really four on both sides of the gym too. And they're 20-foot wide screens, replay screens, and K&D did the production, so they had the score clocks on both sides, so
Nice.
wrestlers could see it, coaches could see it. Really, really nice facility. Rivera's doing a really good job there, and um, to be able to host it, and they had that little bit of benefit for Beat the Streets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
there,
that's it's
I lost you. Did you freeze on me? I was just saying, I don't know if Brian lost his feed or something, but the recording's still going, so maybe he lost his camera.
Oh, it's recording right now?
We
Oh
were recording
no.
earlier. He's gonna have to start over, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Were you able to watch the Doc B?
Yeah, I was actually up there, and I produced it for K&D and Flow, and then I did the commentating for the finals.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was you then.
Yeah, that's
I
me.
was all right.
Yeah,
Good
it was.
job.
Thanks, man. I do as best as I can, and a little bit of silly, and got to be able to spend some time with Anthony Morales. He was next to me, so it was good. Really good little broadcast. Some
Good
killer
deal.
wrestling.
Yeah, yeah, it gets better every year. They do a good job. Poway looked unbelievable.
With it's like they got an extra 55, 60 points this year. With Platt being transferred in, and then Kinnikui, coming in. Their family came in, so and he
Well, they
was
were
in the
there last
finals.
year. They were there.
Yeah, I guess what I'm meaning with being able to have Platt come in and him making the finals this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they just look great. I mean, Posada looked great. He said his internet cut out. He's coming back in.
Yeah, that's what he said to me too.
Posada looked great. And what's their 126, 132 pounder's name?
32 pounder?
26, 32. He was a champ. Paul Kelly. I could
Oh,
be
Paul
off by
Kelly.
weight.
Yeah, he's up at 41s.
41s. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Paul
and
Kelly looked solid.
he was O-Dub.
Really?
He wrestled really well. He beat that Georgia kid in the finals. Yeah, they look tough. Posada, I know you mentioned it, but and even guys like underneath, like Billy Townsend,
Yeah.
coming in placing, they're nails. They really, really are.
Top to bottom. It's been a long time coming. I feel like this class has been developing for a while. I mean, some of these kids I've seen kind of coming for from years, and you kind of knew this groundswell of talent was going to come through Poway. But it's interesting to see all the fruits of their labor kind of finally. I know none of this is going to get recorded, by the way, but I just like talking about it. The fruits of their labor finally come to fruition because I mean, I'm sure they've been talking about beating Buchanan or whoever is number one for a while now, and they look to be in the driver's seat.
They've always been the bridesmaid. I mean, for so many years. I mean, I think I go back to when Andy Kim lost that match against Nico, and I mean they were in the running right there. So
What a name drop, Andy Kim.
I love that
That's
guy,
like
man.
that's like 2002.
Yeah.
What a name drop. That's
The,
I graduated 01, so I mean I know exactly who you're talking about.
Coaching at Temecula, uh, and seeing him as a freshman, he went to a Frost off tournament, and we took our guys, and we had three pretty good little studs. Calvin DeVault, state champ, and it was Andy Kim came up for that one. Calvary brought their guys. It was like, who was it?
Calvary was real good back in those days too.
It was Joe Williams as a freshman.
Wow.
It was like who was the Armenian kid? His dad coaches. Why am I blanking on his name?
Calvary.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, but like they were all just Frost off tournament. And Andy Kim comes rolling in, and he just he crushed everybody. And we're like, who's this kid? And he's just a little brick, but he had that state title in the bag. And then Nico just hits that front. No, it wasn't Nico. It was the Calvary kid. It was Esparza.
Esparza.
Yeah, Esparza hits that front little, Chancellor, puts him to his back and sticks him. It was great. Good times.
Yep. Yeah, that was maybe that was 01, because I think Esparza was my year. That might have been 01. Andy Kim might have been my year too, actually, now that I think. No, I think he was a year younger than me.
Let me think. That it was up at Stockton.
Yeah, in
right?
the UOP.
Yeah, it was at UOP.
Yeah.
That was a fun little tournament that year. And Fred Wong coming out, and
Yep.
you look at all those power guys over the years, and
was that the closest they've got since they took second a couple of times, I feel like, since then.
Yeah, they won it. Well, they won it after that, right?
I don't know. I was graduated.
Yeah,
I wasn't paying attention. The internet wasn't really keeping track of stuff back in those days.
No, we had those Juan's rankings for so many years, and it was crazy.
Let's see what Brian's doing.
Yeah, that's what I was looking to see what Brian was He said the internet cut out and he's trying to get back on, but
Okay. Well,
what
I mean, I can see Gilroy challenging for sure. They certainly have the studs.
yeah, I think so. Not only do they have the studs, but they have them spread out in obviously different weights where whether they're going to be in the finals and I mean, heading up against Poway, I'm trying to look at it here.
Oh, I don't think they can beat him in a duel.
No,
Poway's the best
I'm
heavyweight.
meaning like whether Poway meets him up, if it's a situation where their guys are on the opposite
Oh,
sides
a
of the
head-to-head in the
bracket,
finals, you mean?
yeah, a head to head, you're going to lose a couple little points, but
Paul Kelly at 41s. I'm not sure who. I'm sure Gilroy has somebody good. Maybe a Cortez brother, but I don't think so. I don't think Moses Mendoza. Um, Not Zepeda.
no.
Not.
Mm,
But I mean, Gilroy can easily have 5 state champs.
for sure. And I mean, you could see a situation where maybe, maybe in the quarters, Farha, comes up against one of, maybe Merrill if he's up at heavyweights. But yeah, dude, they're loaded. They really, really are.
I don't see Merrill getting challenged by anybody except for I can't pronounce his name from St. John Bosco.
Sahakian.
The Hawkian. Yeah. I don't think any other heavyweight in California is on either of their levels. Zahakian and Merrill are just on a different level.
They really are. I said it last time I was on the podcast. My guy is Sahakian. Like I thought he was the best guy in the state, and then Merrill comes up and beats him at the in the finals. Merrill's so fast and he's so powerful with that hand control. He just pushes people around, and he was able to toy with Sahakian, who's a full 275.
Yeah, what was the most impressive thing about the win though was actually it wasn't Merrill's offense that won him.
It was defense.
It was his little rubber knee.
Yeah, he got a little rubber knee out of the corner. I thought.
What was that?
I thought he sat the corner.
He did, yeah.
He sat the corner, but from a rubber knee. So he kind of rubber kneed and then used that angle to sit corner after. So he was head outside, and you kind of had the ankle, and then he sat corner out of that.
We started talking after, and if there's a rematch, in February at the state, I'm sure Sahakian is going to make a small little adjustment and possibly be able to get on top of him instead of underneath him, because he's just so fast for his size.
Yeah, he has great feet. I don't know. Were you able to watch the Fargo finals when Merrill just teched his way through the entire tournament?
Yeah, and then goes out at who's number one, and they're so impressive as well. But crazy, man. Welcome back, Ryan.
Yeah, what happened? I'm glad you guys just kept going. Carlo was gone, and then I guess you just came to life, Carlo. And I don't know.
I had to do some meal prep for tomorrow.
You froze, and then I was like, "Hey, hey, you coming back?" And then I realized, it's on Zoom, so the feed's going to be live. You just lost your stuff. Whatever, he'll come back. And then Carlo came on, and we were chatting, and then he's like, "Well, none of this is getting recorded." Well, I'm all, it's being recorded now, but we might have to start
You're going to have to do some heavy editing, Brian.
It's okay. It's all right. I was like, dude, this will be like, we'll just talk for like an hour, and then I'll just just like upload it right away, and it'd have no issues, but that's okay.
You might want to clip the first 10, 12 minutes of this one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'll take it. Dude, I've only been to the Doc B a few different times, I guess twice as a coach and twice as a competitor. No, maybe one more time than that, but I had a lot of fun. Like, it was cool just obviously watching our guys wrestle. We only brought 2 guys, but it was cool, like, just hanging out with like people I know. Like, a bunch of my old college teammates were there. Some college coaches that I know and people that I've had on the podcast were there. Brian, I got to catch up with you. It was just like all these cool people just got to hang out. And I don't know. I had a lot of fun. It was a good time.
Last year producing it and, setting up all the cameras and the streams and, you're doing the back half side for Flow and K&D. So you kind of get everything set. So you're putting out a little bit of fires, whether a table worker, pushes a mute button or something along those lines on the production level. But this year, the tournament ran so smooth. Not only from our production side, we didn't have a string go down or anything like that, but from Dennis Bardsley actually running the bracketing and the way that Gabe and Adam run that. It's a top elite. I mentioned it on the finals broadcast. It's no longer just a wrestling tournament. It's an event. I'm a big guy. I like to eat those food trucks out there in the tents, and it's a really, really well run tournament for sure.
It is a showcase.
They got me. It was all I had was a card, and I know Carlo last year it was cash only, I think, and our coach's tickets, like the window for getting his meal was so small. But this year we never got any tickets, and they had card at the snack bar, but it was a $10 minimum. So I just wanted a water, and they're like, it's a $10 minimum, and I was like, I guess I'll get like a PB&J. I'm like, all right, you have like $8 left, and I'm like, So I had to get a bunch of candy, and I just felt terrible enough.
Naturally,
it happens.
Yeah.
Welcome to my large life.
Yeah, I did. You need to be careful. We played paintball yesterday. A bunch of our high schoolers we met up and we played paintball. And one of the parents took a picture of me, and I was looking at my gut, and I'm like, dude, all right.
Stand next to me. You look pretty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm gonna be getting married here in not too long, so I need to probably just take that a little bit serious and get some weight off. Do the honorable thing.
Man. That's funny.
How do you want to talk about Doc B? Do you want to go like just free flow, weight by weight?
I mean, Brian,
really interesting team implications. We were talking about that before you get back on.
Yeah, we can start with that. So I kind of broke down like just in order what the California teams were in the top 10. I know just teams outside of that for California, I thought just, either they didn't bring everybody, or they had guys that were hurt, or, obviously I think there was quite a few different teams that had that kind of similar situation. But Poway, I think, is the clear favorite to win state, and possibly by a ton. I mean, I don't think that's a hot take by any means.
No, not at all. I mean, I think the closest one to them is Buchanan, because they might be not having 5-6 finalists, but they're going to have the depth and the placers. They're going to get anywhere from 10 to 12. Question is, can Poway get all 14 with 4 to 5 guys in the finals? But that outlier is Gilroy. Clovis is going to be up there just because they're wrestling pretty good. But Carlo and I were talking before. Gilroy's just got possible 5 champs.
I think Gilroy is going to be the bridesmaid this year, and I think they actually have enough firepower to contend with Poway Saturday night. I mean, we'll see. I think the dynamic is going to be either we're already going to know who's the state champ early, because Gilroy either has to get to their finals, get all their guys to the finals, or they're just not going to have enough. The way Gilroy's lineup is right now is they have 5 or 6 potential finalists / state champs, but not a lot in between. They might have 1 or 2 other guys who can be a podium guy, whereas Poway's like all 14 of their guys can be on the podium, and several other guys are going to be on the finals. So Gilroy has to be pretty much perfect, but they have the firepower. Plus, also, I got some. I don't know if you guys. I'll save the juice after you talk, Brian. Go ahead.
No, I'd go ahead right ahead. You can give the juice, and then I'll give the flavor off the after.
What's the juice? All
right. So here's the juice. For Buchanan to obviously be in the running, they have to have all their guys. Who would be their guy at 175, Brian? Do you remember his name?
Yeah. Alejandro Rocha. But actually, I saw on the state rankings, he transferred
to Clovis North.
Well, I mean, that's that pipeline, obviously, with Gabe, Flores. So, yeah.
That's against the CIF rule, though. I thought you can't follow a coach.
Well,
I don't think that's what it was. That's not what I heard. I mean, proving it's one thing, obviously. I heard it had nothing to do with the coach, though.
I didn't want to imply that by any means. I'm not
Yeah.
taking. I'm not trying to say that Gabe Flores is poaching. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if he's transferring over to Clovis North, he's got the familiarity with another coach. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's going to hurt
kid.
Buchanan. I think.
Some
I
juice.
think Rocha is a top 3 guy. He has potential to be a finalist. I don't know who the number 1 guy at 75s is right now. Do you know, Brian, off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's Posada.
That's right. For some reason, I thought he was. That's Guffey's 65s. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he can wrestle with Posada. They have similar body types, somewhat similar skill sets. But yeah, that's a lot of points that Buchanan now just lost, and I'm sure they're going to have a guy fill that role who's going to be more than just a filler. He'll be a contender for a medalist, but that's a lot of points that they lose with Rocha.
The sneaky portion that I can see coming through is St. John Bosco. I mean, I don't know if they have the depth, but what they have 5 guys in the finals at Doc B.
Yeah,
Bosco had 5 guys in the finals.
Yeah, I mean they had Sahakian. I got it right here. They got Sahakian. Joseph. Joseph and Guffey's match was so close. I think with Antonio, choosing neutral instead of going down.
I told Carlo, I was like, dude, why did he do that? Like, just go.
Look what Guffey did to him, though. He got on top of him. He got those legs in, and he was, trying to turn him there at the end. But yeah, he hadn't gotten taken down. He had got those, those shots towards the edge. He'd already gotten 2 takedowns at the edge. I think he felt comfortable on his feet. I don't know what Anderson. I don't remember who was in the corner, whether it was Valencia or it was Valencia, and I'm not sure if Anderson was next to him. But yeah, that was that call.
Who are their other guys in the finals? Grigor, Antonio, Zahakian?
No, Grigor lost.
Grajeda
was in there.
Okay.
Grigor didn't make the finals.
You're right. Yeah, he lost to Barbosa. Barbosa had a hell of a tournament.
He had a phenomenal tournament. I mentioned it on the broadcast. Like, he stepped up his game, so much. And to be able to beat those guys and then to go out and have that insane comeback on Guerrero to win it. It's like, he's the real deal for sure.
I was telling Brian, I felt like more than anything, I think the key to his success this weekend was his composure and his discipline. I personally didn't feel like he went out there and had this insane motor or high attack rate, but he stood there right in the fire and was composed in every single match and didn't panic, wrestled very confidently, and just kind of knew every situation, whether he was close to the out of bounds line, whether it was short time on the clock. He just seems like a very high IQ wrestler.
He was pretty dominant all weekend, obviously until the finals, and Guerrero looked really solid, wrestled real well. And then just that scramble at the end to lose it. But it was a good finals. One of the best ones that I'd seen in probably, my 10 years kind of watching it.
And that's Eric Guerrero's son.
Yep. Grandpa Guerrero was in the stands. Those Bixby teams, man, with Roller and Guerrero. I mean, that's a solid high school team.
A lot of names on that team, a lot of legacy.
Ray Blake, the former assistant at Stanford. I think Ray Blake's the head coach.
Wow.
They had a lot of guys. They had a lot of guys in the semis. It was weird. Thanks for letting me being on the call for the semis for Matt 1, by the way. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun, but there was like maybe 3 or 4 calls in a row where it was like Bixby. And like I felt like they all got hosed, and it was like, some of it was like silly. I know Roller's match, like he tries to go, I think, big initially and ends up maybe kind of getting put to his back. And like, it was kind of like one of those positions where it was kind of like a crackdown. The guy hadn't doubled off, but he was like kind of elevating that leg and putting Roller onto his back. But like it looked borderline where I didn't think it was like definitely, I don't think established control yet. And it was kind of borderline. I didn't feel like he was close to his shoulder blades, but the ref calls two and starts calling near fall. And Roller's like still kind of in the same spot. And he's just like looking around, like super confused. And Ray Blake and I think it's Shane Roller's his dad, right?
Yeah.
Dude, they're just like livid in the corner and they're just going off. And I'm like, this is bananas. And then once that happened, now Jace Roller's in this deep hole. Now he's just swinging for the fences. He's trying to go big with every single position, and then he just keeps digging this hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think it was with it was Paul Kelly, and Paul Kelly just wrestles solid. Yeah, and ends up getting the tech. And I'm like, I remember just saying, I was like, this is the most awkward tech I've ever seen. Because like I feel like skill wise they're pretty comparable. I don't know if maybe Jace might have been hurt, and maybe that was just part of the strategy. Is just try to get.
I don't know. I think what you said is exactly the point. We had a break in the match because I was on mat 2 and you were on mat 1, and as I looked over, he was so unbelievably stunned by that near fall call, and he was just. I think it got him out of his game. Take nothing away from Kelly, like he put on a spectacle, but yeah, I think that kind of got off on, and Kelly took advantage of it.
Dude, Paul Kelly is tough.
He's a dog, man.
Yeah,
we talked about Paul Kelly before he came back on, man. He's a dog. Poway's got a couple of dogs.
I feel like all the Poway guys are super well coached, very good positionally. And they are always looking for those bonus points. Like it never stops. Like throughout the tournament, I was kind of listening to, why am I blanking on his name? Who's that coach? His hat. I don't think he's the only person. Yeah, John Myers. He's the only person that can pull off that hat. Yeah, I just was kind of just listening to what he was saying. And he's just always talking about, get bonus points, get the fall, even from first round all the way through. Which I think, again, if you're trying to win a team title, that's kind of what you have to do. Pick up those.
It's interesting you mentioned that because yesterday, Sunday at the CBU Iowa State duel, got a chance to talk with Coach Moore, and he was so impressed. Obviously the Cal Baptist commit, and he's like, we got the O-dub, and I just love how he went for going for bonus points. So having those conversations with, like, that's the way you win a team title, and with their 14 deep in those first couple rounds up at state. They're going to get some falls, and they're so solid.
Like catch,
top and bottom, just they got a great team. And
I feel like they don't have too many seniors. I could be wrong about that, but I know like Posada, he's not a senior; he's a junior, right? I don't know about Paul Kelly. I feel like he might not be a senior though.
I don't know. I know. I remember 2 years ago when there was a bunch of those guys came back and like took third, and a lot of them were like sophomores and freshmen, and maybe a couple of juniors. I was like, dude, this team maybe is not winning a team title right now, but they're going to be pretty dang good, if not next year in a couple of years. And looking at how deep they are, those first couple rounds, and even if some of them get put out on the backside. I mean, you can get a lot of points like that on the backside.
They're going to cause havoc on the backside if they get put out. I think Root and maybe they're 215 or seniors. I'm not sure. I don't know if Kika knows. I'm probably saying his name wrong. Sorry, Kika, if I'm saying your name wrong.
He's a freshman.
There's one. Arseni is a freshman, right?
Yeah,
I'm talking about the older one.
His brother
was a senior. Okay.
Yeah.
His brother had a really, I think, competitive match with Miguel at Battle for the Belt last year.
Yeah, it was a major.
At the end.
Yeah.
But the kid was stingy. I never seen him before. And
he was their backup at that tournament.
We got to stop this. You mean Miguel did not go to overtime with somebody? Yeah, I go back to the other podcast, and when you guys are talking with Oren, and the overtime monster, and we know Platt's a senior. He transferred in, but they're loaded, dude.
They could repeat for all we know, and who knows what they get in terms of recruits if they do. Sometimes they get somebody from Arizona, from nearby areas, nearby states. who knows how they fill those weights after Root and the other guys graduate.
I think they're the only team that has all 14 guys ranked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, when you say ranked, you mean in the top 8?
No, top 15, I think. Well, I have to go back and look at what shows got, but I think he goes all the way, but they have all 14 wrestlers in like the top 15. I think they got one's hovering right around a 14, and I think the 90 pounder. That's Kikanu, right? He's at 90s. No,
Kikanu is at
maybe 60s, 57s.
Yeah, but like their 90 pounders ranked like 13 or 14, somewhere around in there.
That's not Farah, is it?
No, it's Baumberger.
Yeah. Ben Baumberger.
Oh, that guy's up at 90s.
Yeah, and
that guy's been putting in work forever. He'll come all the way to Bakersfield and do the local tournaments. He's kind of a long, lanky guy.
Yeah.
I know.
Doc B, though, crazy freaking tournament, man.
Yeah,
so good.
They went to not to get too off topic, but Poway went to a dual tournament, and I want to say maybe that's why Bixby came out here. But they went to a dual tournament, maybe in Oklahoma, and Buchanan went and Clovis went. Is my location wrong?
Yeah, it was the Hall of Fame duels.
Okay, and I didn't look at the results closely, but from what I remember, Poway performed the best out of that group, right?
Yeah, they beat what's that? Oh, dude, is it? Why am I blank? Dude, I hate it when like I can't remember.
You gotta have it up in front of you. Pull it up, Jamie.
It's like a blue school. They're pretty good.
From Oklahoma. Oh, I know you're talking about. Actually,
it's not like Downton or something like that.
A blue school from Oklahoma. I mean, Edmond North.
Yeah, Edmond. It was Edmond.
And Buchanan lost to Edmond North.
Yeah.
Edmond North beat him like 35 to like 19 or something.
Yeah. They put him on. They put it on him. Yep.
That
result stood out to me.
And then beating Buchanan. Did he freeze again?
No,
there it is now.
I was looking. Poway has every single weight ranked in the top 14 or higher. They're slated right now to have 11 placers.
It's just wicked.
So
good.
11 in the top 8.
Wicked good.
So the only team who has, in my opinion, a puncher's chance is Gilroy. I just don't think Buchanan's going to get it done this year. Sorry, Central Valley.
You mean with losing the guy?
With losing Rocha, from what I see, just kind of the eye test. I call it the eye test. I talk to Brian about it all the time. Just the guys are where they're at right now and who they have in the lineup. I don't think Buchanan has a single guy ranked first right now. I don't even know if Buchanan has a guy ranked second.
Zinkin was ranked first, but he just lost.
No, he's 2, and then Toscano's ranked 1.
Is Toscano still ranked 1 after? Yeah, because he took second, huh?
Yeah, he lost in the finals.
Yeah. So Cantino as well. Cantino's going to be up there now that I think about it.
Well, Cantino, he injury defaulted out of 2 matches.
Yeah, I think that's another. I don't know if I can say too much, but yeah.
Yeah, he called that third timeout in that last match on Friday night, and then called the timeout in that match, and I think that was kind of right there in front of us. Troy came on down and was like, "Dude, you're done. Let's go." But still,
he had to be legitimately hurt against Arvin in the first loss because he was winning 7-1 at the time, and it was a third period. I want to say I'm not entirely sure if it was a third. I think it was a third when he injury defaulted out. So he had to be really hurt.
Well, he called the first 2 for whatever the injury was, and then the third one just flat out, called the timeout, and that was it. He can't call that third one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Is it Khosravi from Chaminade?
Something like that. Arvin.
Dude, I love that guy. I love how he sets up on top. Yeah. He, dude, you were giving him a hard time, or you weren't giving him a hard time, but you were making fun of him. But dude, he's tough. He's committed to West Point.
Making fun of him? What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're making fun of
Don't
him,
you
dude.
put that hate on me? What are you
We got
talking about?
we
Explain
got some
yourself,
juice
Brian
coming
Batista.
here.
Brian Batista, explain yourself. Making fun of
No,
him.
you're just
By the
giving
way,
him
he's
a-
from Birmingham.
Well, he transferred.
He's a Jimmy
from
Madero's
Birmingham.
product.
I want to say he was like a
I was
U17
bullish, Brian. I was bullish
World
on
team
him.
member.
I was bullish on him. I don't know why you're putting hate on his name. You're putting smut on my name right now. You bite your tongue, sir. I was high on Mr. Arvin.
Yeah, he's a character.
This ain't making it to YouTube, bro.
It's going on.
Yeah.
Brian's gonna edit.
Brian's on
He's
my
gonna edit
side.
this out.
We're not gonna get all that many views anyways, Brian.
Yeah, it's whatever. Here, we can talk so I'm kind of like in this spot where I feel like Spotify is what I personally like to do to watch podcasts. But I feel like when we had the most YouTube views is where I was like making that our front platform for the podcast, for the show. So I'm kind of in this point where it's like I kind of want to stick with YouTube being like our main link that we put out to share with people. But I don't know what you guys think. Do you think keep going with both? I mean, when Brian, I know you actually listen to the show. When you listen to it, do you listen on YouTube? Do you go on Spotify? All right, yeah.
Nah, YouTube.
Yeah.
I think it's easier on a couple different platforms for me. Whether it's on the cell phone, the computer, or the iPad, YouTube, and it's the links. Whether they're looking for wrestling podcast or something along those lines, it's easy to search. But I heard one of them on Spotify. I turned it on, but mostly YouTube for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good. I do that. That's what I wanted to do, but I just needed to hear it just to validate what I wanted to do. So
I'll give you my 2 cents. I am primarily a YouTube guy, but if I'm doing chores around the house and I'm throwing in the earbuds, you got to go Spotify. Spotify is just easier to deal with. It uses less energy on your phone.
And you can lock
less
the screen.
ads.
Yeah, you can lock the screen, put it in the earbuds, and go around the house with it.
Yeah. So it just depends on what I'm doing. If I have chores to do, which is if it's a weekend, I usually have chores to do. But I am probably 90% YouTube. So YouTube for me as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll probably I'll keep doing both, but I know I'm a YouTube guy. I'm a big fan of Stalemates. You guys watch that?
I've watched them.
They have some good content. They'll do stuff like they did one where it was like they'll pick like a topic. Like one is some guy that got DQ'd or he got some Russian. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, Carlo. Some Russian that got DQ'd and he kept like coming back. Maybe it wasn't Russian. Maybe it was some other dude. But like they'll go into like this like one story and they'll just find all the details of it. And they'll put together a bunch of different film and a bunch of different videos and a bunch of different pictures, and they'll tell the story. They did that to when Cale Sanderson left Iowa State to go to Penn State.
That was a great one.
A minute, yeah, dude, it was great.
That was outstanding. Yeah,
that one's great. They did one where it was the beef between Tom Brands and Kevin Dresser, and they put some audio on there. Brian, you gotta check it out. It's Stalemates and. They have like a podcast too. That's not bad, but
no, their content I would say is superior to their podcast. Their podcast isn't bad, but they have some outstanding. I don't know if it's like a documentary style or what you'd want to call it, but the production value is great. The storytelling is great.
As long as you're
shouting that out,
as long as you're shouting out podcasts, Brian. Have you heard of BEG?
I've heard of it. I haven't listened to it though.
So I would say if you're looking for a good mix of podcasts, hot takes, and I don't know if it's humor or how you want to say it, but they have a good spin, a good angle, I guess, on wrestling. It's different. It's not a typical podcast. A lot of energy, a lot of hot takes, and they're pretty funny. But it's BEG, Beaver Entertainment Group.
Speaking of hot takes, I got a hot take here, Brian.
Yeah.
For you being a coach, and you had mentioned that you love that team unity, and you only took two guys and you split your wrestlers up, right? You took a couple to a different tournament closer by, and so on and so forth. But you guys went paintballing, you said. My question is this: why would you have paintball marks on this side of the forearm? Like hold those.
I'm shooting like this. Like this is how I'm playing, right? So my center of mass is right here, right? Because my elbows are in. I'm shooting like that. So I got hit. I only got hit like in a few different spots. I got hit, which I thought about this after. I was like, dude, my welts literally look like ringworm.
Well, so my point is that are your kids that are you the big target when you're going out there paintballing with the boys? Did they just gang up on you?
The big target.
Here's the thing. I think people thought I was better than how I actually was. Because whenever they would pick teams, they're like, oh, Batista. And I'm like, I know I'm like one of the last ones to get out, but it doesn't mean like I don't have like a high like kill ratio. You know what I mean? Like I'll maybe get like a couple people out. But for some reason, they were like, dude, we got to get you on the team. And what was funny, and Carlo, you'll appreciate this, like we're getting ready to play. And Brian, there's this conspiracy that I cheat when we play games.
Not a conspiracy.
No, it is a conspiracy. And speaking of cheating conspiracies, it's a total cheating conspiracy. But it's 34-13, and Michigan wins the national title. So go blue, free Harbaugh. It's on right there. They win it 34-13. It's a conspiracy on the cheating. But hey, back to your paintballing. But go blue.
Well, no, just one of the kids was like he has his gun. He looks at me. He's like, "Yeah, there's no way you can cheat at this." And like looked at me, and I was like, "Now you can white paint. Like, you can pretend
you can definitely cheat at paintball.
You can definitely cheat."
Yeah. They look like defensive wounds. It looks like you're like had your arm up like this, like protecting you. And they
just that's why I ultimately thought it. I was like, hey, he's surrendering this. And they're just like tack, 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 tack.
Yep. No. There was one. So if you get hit, you're supposed to raise your non-shooting hand up.
Yeah.
So I got clinked in the face. I got hit like right here. So I'm like, dang it. So no, what happened was I got hit on the gas can on my gun. And if you get hit there, you're dead. So you're supposed to be, So I got hit. I'm like, all right. So I raise my hand and say I'm out. And then I got hit right in the wrist.
There it is, the spinoff channel, the Simple Man Paintball channel.
Yeah.
Simple
Man Media is expanding into all these different sports. Yeah.
Bring in the content. Let's go.
We can do that. Are you watching the football game right now?
I cannot confirm nor deny that it is on. The game is over. The confetti's flying. Being a Michigan fan for 40 years. And being on the field, well, not on the field, but in the stands in '97 at the Rose Bowl to watch, Greasy and those guys win the national title. I've never been to Ann Arbor, I've been to Michigan, but never been to University of Michigan, never been to the Big House. My grandfather bought me a shirt. I was wearing it the day he died when I was a little kid, and I've just been a Michigan fan ever since. And to be there in '97 at the Rose Bowl and watch that was super cool. And then to see them win another national title, here comes all the people. Oh, they cheated it. Free Harbaugh. Big shout out. Maybe you can tag Barstool Sports, and you can tag El Presidente out there.
Portnoy won a hefty sum this season.
2 hefty sums
on the blue and maize.
He put $1 million on the Rose Bowl, and then he put another $1 million on the national title game, and so it's good.
What was his winnings on it? Was his winnings $1 million, or did he actually put $1 million on? I know he won like 1.2 when they made it to the title game.
Yeah, so he bet $1 million to win 1.2.
Okay.
So and go blue. Back to the wrestling aspect, the transition was, this weekend up at the Dock Beat, Cliff Keen, one of the major sponsors out there, and their guy Scott was just such a good guy to talk to, and he came out and he saw my shirt, he saw my Michigan shirt on, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Scott. Click in." I was like, Jack's not here because normally Jack's out, but Jack retired.
Yeah.
And so we started talking Click in, Michigan in wrestling. And then at the perfect exact time, Montanona walks by and he gives me a high five because we've chatted before, obviously down here in the southern section. And I had a quarter zip up and I unzipped it and I showed him the shirt and he's like, "Go Blue."
Nice.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Nice.
So for him to
Speaking-
be able to go to Michigan and then win the national title today, I'm a happy man for sure.
Didn't he just wrestle in the duel? Who did Michigan?
Bo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won. He won that match. Got his first D1 wrestling win.
Is he at 65s?
I want to
Yeah.
say yes.
Yeah,
Who do you-
65.
Who did he wrestle?
I've seen
He
a
wasn't
lot of
ranked.
wrestling in the
He might
last
have been
couple
ranked
weeks.
like 24th. I don't think, maybe not even ranked. He wasn't.
What school?
Yeah.
Did they duel?
Who did they duel?
Yeah, good question.
We need a young Jamie.
They didn't win. I don't think.
No, they did.
Michigan
They had a
didn't
lot of
win?
starters out.
South Dakota State.
Oh, they're tough.
Yeah, I think it was South
Yeah.
Dakota State.
Yeah, South Dakota State won.
Yeah. Lots of upsets
yeah.
in the NCAAs over the last couple, the week and a half.
Unbelievable. No
I
one
got
else
to
winning.
see Bastido yesterday. I was on the call for Iowa State and CBU, and he beat Schultz on Friday. He looks impressive for sure. But lots of upsets. Griffin from CBU, he broke the top 25 in the rankings.
He's tough, man. They have a lot of talented guys at CBU right now. There's a lot of talent in their lineup. I feel like there's some inexperience when it comes to like intense matches. Like that's how I felt at when they wrestled Iowa, especially in the third period. But they definitely have some talent. Like I think Leak is tough. I think Haas is tough. Griffith.
He was
obviously,
well overmatched with Feldkamp yesterday, but yeah, Haas is really tough. The guy who impressed me the most yesterday from CBU, in my opinion, two. I mean, obviously, Elijah Griffin wrestled really well, and it's a little bit of a game changer. There was a call towards the edge of the mat, and there was a takedown right on the edge, and it was clearly a takedown. Griffin gets behind, and he's wrestling Tarakina, and he gets behind him, and all of a sudden you just see the challenge brick throw out, and Dresser throws the challenge brick, and they do the video review. And I was lucky enough to be at the head table with the headset on, and right next to us was the the challenge monitor, and time was definitely out. But a second earlier, if he gets that takedown, that kind of changes that match against Tarakina. It was a 4-2 match anyways, but they got some guys, and Griffin looked really good. Dane Morton at 49s, he wrestled Redding really, really, really tough. I mean, it was a close match. I think it was 5-3 or 6-3. But a really, really tough match.
And Redding's not the starter. Swiderski's hurt, but Redding I think was it 33s last year? Zach Redding? Yeah. So being up a couple weights, I mean, Redding's still tough.
They're deep. He been wrestling off for the spot a couple of times. He might have had the spot for a hot minute.
Well,
at 49s?
Did he lose the wrestle off to Echemendia?
No, Echemendia beat Swiderski, but ended up going down to 41s.
No, Redding was like 33s or something like that, I thought.
Redding was definitely a lower weight. It might have been 41s, maybe. That maybe
might have been 41s too.
But Echemendia went down.
Their 33-pounder yesterday was the Temecula kid, Ethan Perriman.
Yeah. Redding isn't at 33s anymore. But
he looked a little small for 33s, but wrestled Leak really well. It was super close, and then Leak got the takedown and some back points. But Iowa State's tough, real tough. And CBU, you look at the dual score, and the dual score was like 39-3. But it was a lot closer than that. A lot of close matches. I don't know. Carr stood out. He just He just dominated for sure.
Yeah, I bet he's fun to watch in person.
So fun. Him and Bastida. That guy.
I think Bastida's a wild card at heavyweights. He has a skill set to upset the top guys.
He's ranked
He's
fourth,
ranked
isn't he?
third from what I saw, but and beating Schultz on Friday. Yeah, kid's good. Chittum though. Chittum looks so good, so good. He's so fluid. He put up like 16 points in the first period. His tech fall was 30-10 or 31-11, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, impressive. They're really impressive.
Didn't he just have an upset over
31-11. That's wild.
He did. He beat did he beat Teamer? I think he beat Teamer.
Yeah.
Teamer
ran out of gas about a minute and a half into the match. I heard. I didn't get to watch it.
That's kind of Teamer's MO, I feel like, during the season. He did have a barn burner with somebody, I think, for like third and fourth place, maybe a couple of years ago, that like went the distance. And both guys were just exhausted by the end of it. But I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't want to make excuses. You got to be in shape by January. But
he looked okay at Cliff Keen.
Yeah, well, didn't he win? He won.
But that's December, not January.
He won Midlands, didn't he?
I mean, there's that break in between. Who knows how it happened along the way?
Yeah, your weight balloons up a little bit.
He beat Cardenas in that tournament. Cardenas he's a pretty hard nosed, gritty wrestler. He doesn't get tired. He beat Cardenas up actually, and he had a couple good wins in that tournament where he looked pretty good.
And it's that winter season, so who knows? I mean, whether he came down with something, had a little bit of a bug, or like you said, just out of shape, or ran up against some tough wrestlers. I mean, I think we saw that at the Doc B with a lot of guys. I don't think people don't make excuses whatsoever, but you could see something, talking about with Sean and Brady. Abram didn't place at Doc B, but he didn't. I didn't even ask those guys, but something looked a little bit off, and you could see that there were a couple guys battling some sicknesses out there. But for them to come through and wrestle, hey, you're out there. It's January.
Yeah. The timing's always tough. You're coming off Christmas. You're coming off New Year's, and I think the individuals who are committed to wrestling and they know what's in front of them with Doc B, they're all in. But you're probably going to have other kids and families who are like, well, we still want to do Christmas. We have to travel, see family, and eat. Things can get very inconsistent health-wise when that happens. Then you have kids who are traveling too.
I think I didn't get the final count from Tierpelli, but I think it was like 12 or I think it was 12 states were represented in at Doc B. There were 6 states represented in the finals.
That's pretty cool.
Insane. Utah, Georgia, Colorado,
Alaska.
Yeah, well, Alaska was there. They didn't make the finals, but yeah, I mean, and those Alaska kids, it's towards their end of their season. I think their state tournament's like in the next week or two. But those guys, and they can wrestle for sure.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's South Anchorage, I think was the team that was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you never kind of back with the sickness thing, like you never really know how you're going to feel at the end of the year. And that's something that, as a competitor when I was younger, like completely threw me off. I was a young kid. I was a sophomore going, this is like maybe my year to finally qualify for the state tournament. And I got a little bit sick, like literally right before, and I let it get to me. And I wrestled like crap, and I made some silly mistakes, like locking my hands and like, I think one match I got like 4 cautions or something like that. Like it was just silly. So one of the things that, we tell our young guys is like, you don't know how you're going to feel at the end of the year. Sometimes, you do kind of have to train through it a little bit. Obviously, again, depending on how bad it is, and you don't want to spread that sickness to other people. But, for guys like Klein, if he ended up being sick or anybody that just wanted to put it on the line anyways, kudos to them.
Yeah, that tournament's so good, so tough. You got to be completely healthy along the way to sniff that podium. And if you've got a little bit of something, just such high quality wrestling. I mean, I know you were down on that one for the semis, being able to see that, but even in that other gym, running those upper weights, there's so much talent out there, and if you place it Doc B, it's an achievement for sure.
Yeah, some of those weights are for sure tougher than CIF. I'm trying to think of what would be representative of that. I want to say like maybe 141s is probably tougher than
32s and
CIF.
41s is loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 32s had a bunch of California guys though, right?
They really did, but I mean, I'm just talking in general for our state tournament itself. I mean,
oh yeah. 52s is pretty loaded for our state tournament. All right, you have Montanona, you have Root, you have Parco, Cepeda, Miguel.
The question is one of them going to move? Is someone going to move out of that weight class and drop down?
I have my thoughts on possibly one of them. Yeah.
You think going down to 38s?
I think one of them might go down.
You're talking at 50s, right?
Yeah, I think they're one of them might go down to 46s. I don't want to say, and not our guy, but out of that group, I think one's down.
You could see it. I mean, take nothing away from that. Who's that Anderson kid? That sophomore up at Anderson. Is it Raby?
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I think him and Slava are like ranked 3 and 4, but with Toscano and Mirabel, you could see one coming down, and if one's going to come down, whether it's Montanona or whether it's Parco, to challenge Toscano to get to the state finals or something along those lines. But man, they're loaded.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I have a feeling though. I feel like the top guys right now at 150. I feel like they're all gamers, and I think some of them, they want to be the top dog at that weight. And I don't know. Who do you think is going to go down, Carlo?
My prediction?
Yeah.
If I had to guess, it'd be Cepeda.
Yeah, and Mirabal is at 44, right? So
yeah,
Mirabal would have to go down. I feel like that would mess with their lineup too much. I don't think Cepeda goes down.
Well, I don't know. If Mirabel goes down, to 38s, that solidifies their lineup for them. I'm trying to pull it up right now to see who Gilroy's got at 38s, but I don't think anybody in the top, 20. So that's a good call, Carlo. If they slide that and Mirabel comes down to 38s, that puts that team race and be able to have Cepeda jump right back in the mix up at the top, because 50s is so loaded. Not saying it because of you guys, but Estrada being there. I had mentioned on the broadcast about Montanona being one in the state and so on and so forth. And I was like, wait a minute, how do I forget about Estrada? Estrada, one, and Montanona and Parco and Root, and Cepeda. That someone's got to go somewhere, because that's a. Could you imagine Cepeda taking 5th? I mean, I know Parco's taking
5th.
Yeah, Parco's taken 5th the last 2 years, but
going into the state tournament, going into the season last year, he was ranked. I want to say he was ranked number 1 in the country after Super 32s for a hot minute, a week or two. He was ranked number 1 in the country, and he took 5th at the state tournament. And it might have been more than a couple of weeks. It might have been a month or so. He was ranked number 1 in the country.
Just loaded.
Yeah.
Loaded.
Yeah. And to kind of add to my conspiracy theory, Cepeda did wrestle who's number 1 at 138s. I don't know how much weight allowance they give him. They might give him, 4 or 5 pounds or something like that. I've heard in the past, and I don't know if that's the case with this last one. But I mean, that is 2 weight classes below where he's currently at right now. And I've heard Cepeda doesn't cut much to begin with.
I mean, could you see that lineup? Could you see Mendoza at 20s. You could see Cortez at 25s or 26s. You see Cortez at 32s. And then if you're sliding down, man, that's so unbelievably impressive.
Yeah, that's a state championship contending team for sure.
Zepeda being there, Mirabal being there. Oh, that's
if they all get in the finals.
I mean, that's a lot of ifs, but if they do, I mean,
That's
even
their
if
only
they're
path, though, in my opinion. They don't have the depth. Their stars have to shine.
I mean, they could spoil it possibly for Poway or Buchanan, depending on how they match up in the bracket.
don't forget about St. John Bosco.
And them.
Yeah.
Like, because, I mean, the match was close. We're saying that Sahakian can't beat Merrill. But if that is the case, I mean, you're really only looking at anywhere from a 5 to a 6-point swing, right? Merrill's going to pin possibly, we're assuming a lot, but if Merrill pins all the way to the finals and Sahakian kind of gets bonus points along the way, that could be a swing match for the state title along the way. Here's another thing just to kind of throw it out there, but could you imagine if Kobe wasn't down at JW North and still up with Gilroy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's another finalist slash champ.
It was cool to be on the broadcast, and I had Andrew Morales next to me. Sorry, Brian. We had mentioned we looked over in the corner and you just see studs. I mean, DC's there. And then you see this guy sitting in the chair and you're like, that's Jerry Abbas. And Abbas is there all to wrestle with those little guys and all that knowledge. They built a good team.
Yeah, Andrade, Tony Andrade wasn't a bad wrestler in high school. He's doing, I think, MMA right now. He's a tough wrestler in high school.
For the record, I do think Sarkeesian, and I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, can beat Merrill. I thought that match was very close. And I thought the last sequence when Merrill scored, he was in so deep for a minute. It almost was like, okay, Merrill's about to get taken down. So I think they both bonus their way to the finals. I don't know if it's going to be pins, major decisions, or techs. I just think they're a class of their own. They're on their own island. But I think that match is kind of in the balance right now. I don't think it sways one way or the other.
And the only person that could match up, in the semis, he's no longer in the state. Peanut Herrera moved out, obviously, to Iowa. But
yeah. I actually think they're both a level above him.
I didn't think Peanut looked that good last year at the state tournament.
We talked about that last time, but even so, I agree with you, Carlo, of the level with, Sahakian and Merrill being above Herrera. But, Herrera's committed to Iowa State. Like, could you imagine that weight class? Like, They might be the top 3 heavyweights in the nation. Looking around there. I mean, I don't want to take who's the Bakersfield kid? Stanley.
Adam Stanley.
Yeah.
We love Stanley.
One of our assistant coaches is in love with Stanley.
He's good, and you got that. Who's the Buchanan kid? Bryson something.
He's real tough.
Is it Hennington?
Harrington, right?
Harrington.
He's beaten Stanley twice this season.
Yeah, and I mean those guys are good. Look at Farha of Poway. I mean that guy's a senior too, but all those guys are really, really good. But Carlo, you mentioned a very valid point. Those 2 guys are far above. Above. Yeah. And Sahakian comes back.
He was a Super 32 finalist, right?
Yeah.
I saw him in the finals against Merrill. He I don't know if he shot or like level changed all the way down to a knee and kind of like knee pounded or something like that. Just the way he was able to be comfortable off one knee and recover, like kind of like a middle or a lightweight. I was like, dude, this guy is humongous and has body control like a middleweight. Like, this guy's problems.
You took the words right out of my mouth because I mentioned that me and Morales on the call for Doc B. I mean, if you get a chance to go back and watch that on Flow, he comes out and he's just so wide and he's so fast. And that first little flurry where Merrill's got the leg and has the shot and he hops out of it.
Yeah,
you see this 285-pound guy up in the air, with a vertical of probably, 30 inches or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's impressive for sure. And he still does all that Greco stuff. I think sky's the limit for him, but
I think he's another Jimmy Medeiros guy. I'm giving Jimmy Medeiros out of Birmingham a lot of love on the podcast. Brian is a mortal enemy of Jimmy Medeiros' bus. That's a story for another day.
You can tell that story.
But I don't want to go off on a tangent. I think Sarkisian and then that Arvin guy are both Birmingham products. I don't want to say Birmingham. Sarkisian might have left before Birmingham, but the Arvin kid for sure was at Birmingham last year. It's weird how a lot of these kids are connected to Mr. Gucci, Mr. Louis Vuitton, Mr. Jimmy Medeiros.
He's a fun guy, man. We were at that preseason tournament that K&D put on for you guys down, but in Corona. And there was that preseason tournament, and he brought all his guys. And sure enough, you look over and he's got his name on his back, and he's just got this swagger about him, just the way he walks. And he had his side saddle. I don't even know what to call them nowadays. They're little. In our day, us old guys, it was a fanny pack, and now they're just doing a side sling fanny pack. Yeah. But he knows his wrestling, and he produces some really, really good high level kids. And they like to throw a lot at Birmingham. They definitely like to go upper body for sure.
Yeah, he's I would say, he probably has more notoriety now. But I think for a while he was probably an underrated coach. But he's built something out there in the LA area that's been a long time coming. They're real tough. I don't know if Brian wants to talk about his beef with the bus.
I mean, there's no beef. I'm just a nice guy, and we our kids, they need to check their weight and they need to go to bed. So I could have made it a big issue, but we were squaring off in a parking lot, and this big bus was trying to take up all this space, and I moved politely over to the right, and they honked at me, and I did a little honk back, but my honk, I guess, just wasn't as loud as this big old bus. And I pulled even more off to the side so that I could go through the wrong way, in this hotel. At La Quinta, you know how the garage, like, it's not that area is not very wide.
Hey, don't be giving away our locations of our hotels. We might get swatted or something. Wake up call at 2:30. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you were in a standoff. Brian was in a standoff. I guess I don't know what their deal is, but what he was telling me is they have to get charter buses. Like, they're not even allowed to drive school vans like us peasants at Frontier High School. They must drive in style. They must wear Louis Vuitton.
They're in that LA section. LA section. They got some cash for sure. Speaking of
guys. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say one last thing. Speaking of cash, did you see I don't know if you saw it on the broadcast, Brian, I think you left, but they do the T-shirt toss in between a couple of the matches for the finals at Doc B. And, Cliff Keen's got these backpacks, and they got all these T-shirts kind of stuffed in them. And they were throwing them out like it was just, and these little kids are running like they're $100 bills. And they're probably, $10, $6 T-shirts, and they're throwing them out there. And they're just tossing 10, 20, 30 shirts into the crowd. And they did it twice, and the kids run all over the mat. And it's a great event, Doc B. And it was like they were just slinging cash up in the air, and the little kids are running to grab it. It was awesome.
I love Cliff Keen stuff. I really wish we could get like our warm-ups and like our gear like Cliff Keen, or at least that kind of material, because they're sweet and they look great, and I think the kids like them too.
If you need contact, I got the guy's contact number, and he's a great dude. They put out such a great product. I mean, he should pay me for the free plug, for the 100 people that are going to watch this. But yeah, I got his contact information if you want it, and I'll send it to you. And Cliff Keen runs some really good stuff, and he's got a funny story on how he got to be able to work with Cliff Keen, and I'll let Scott talk about that story. But Cliff Keen
Yeah.
puts out a really, really, really good
I
product.
I have no qualms about switching over to Cliff Keen about after our last experience. I don't want to say the vendor's name, but we didn't have a good experience with our most recent vendor.
Well, there's only a few out there, so
I'll
that are top
let you
level.
guess. Or I mean, I don't. It's ongoing still. So it's not. I'm not wearing anybody that we're referring to. So,
Hey,
yeah.
I'm wearing a free Harbaugh shirt, man. Barstool Sports, it's on the back.
Gotta love it. He's a
Cliff Keen does.
stoolie.
I love El Presidente, dude. That guy is
Yeah.
so rad. For a while there, I'm still doing. I'm still kind of working at a restaurant a couple nights a week, and it's a pizza joint. So when
Oh, nice.
we made this video, and I came out as Portnoy, and I did this pizza review, and I'm like, it's to a T. I'll send it to you guys, but not to make it public.
One bite,
It's just
everybody knows the rules.
Yep, like it was everything, every verbiage along the way. Great
Good
undercarriage.
undercarriage. Yeah.
This is hot. I mean, you get
Good
Italian guy. I love this guy. There's zero flop. I had it all, right? And so the camera guy's talking, and we're outside our restaurant, and I take this bite, and it's crispy. And I took the 2 bites, and I bit the crust in the edge, and I'm talking like him, and then at the end, I'm like, this is better than Sally's, because that's like his top pizza. And I'm all, forget this New Haven stuff. This is Cali style. And I'm like, 9-1. Trying to plug my own restaurant.
That's an all-time score.
Yeah,
we'll have to try this restaurant. I'll be down there, for the Battle of the Belt this weekend, and junior battle for the belts on Sunday. So I'll be in the area. So you gotta let me know where that pizza place is.
We'll have a better chance on Sunday for junior. We close at 8:00 every night, no matter what. And even if we're looking Friday night, getting done at 5:30 or 6, getting the guys up or going over to the restaurant they're going to close by the time we get there. But Sunday, I think is a good deal.
Do you guys have
hit me up
DoorDash?
when you're there. No.
Do you do delivery?
Nope. We have a very decent quality, and anytime you put something in a to-go box, you're going to lose that, and we do not want our product being watered down by somebody else. And then such a family restaurant, we don't want to charge the price. We don't want DoorDash to make money off of us, and it's no disrespect to DoorDash or Uber Eats or anything, but it's the experience. Come on in. We're a little small family owned. Been there for 28 years, and it's good. Have some fun, eat some pizza, but I might be able to make a run and bring it to the tournament or something like that. I'll place a call. I got a few connections.
Is this the restaurant that you're like part owner of, or
not an owner whatsoever? It was about 10, 12 years ago. Well, 11 years ago. My wife, she got pregnant, and it was like, stay home. So went back out, and I had bartended and worked in the restaurant industry for a long time, worked my way through college and coaching, and then had my teaching job. And so I went back to work just a couple days a week, and I've been there. And now I'm taking advantage of the system because I'm almost at that 30-year mark in the private sector. So once I get to the 30-year mark, I have one more year next July, and then I'm done. They can't touch my Social Security. So
nice.
CalSTRS and the pension on the teaching side, they can't touch my Social Security. So
you're double dipping. I've always thought about how anybody could possibly pull that off, because you need something like 40 credits or 40 units to get your Social Security, and that takes like a minimum of 10 years. And then to get your pension right, that also takes like a minimum of 25, 30 years sometimes. You pulled it off. You found the formula. Congrats to you. Tip of the cap.
I did. I saw, I was going to quit just a few years ago. And then I pulled up my Social Security statement, and I had 26 qualifying years. And I'm like, if I get to 30, they can't take a single dime. They can't take nothing. So next July will be that'll be full 30 years invested in the private sector. And I don't know. And now being able to work a little bit with, the production company, getting 1099, private contractor, still got to pay into Social Security as well on that aspect. So it's fun. A little tiring. Yesterday was a long, long day driving down from Fresno to LA, calling high school matches and then calling the college duels. But hey, now we get up and rally and go see the students tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Well, hey, we've been going over an hour. I don't know if you got like a final word, either of you guys.
I'm ready to call it.
Mine's the appreciation for what you guys do. We talked the other day and even last time on the podcast. You don't do this for the views. You don't do it for the money. You do it for the passion, and it shows. I'm not trying to brown nose whatsoever, but I love being on. I always love having talk and wrestling whatsoever. And to have that opportunity to share my thoughts with you guys is always fun. I love watching it, being able to have that connection and to talk about it. Talking with Coach Moore, got to see Coach Dresser. It's the little things and the appreciation. So it's cool to be on the podcast and have a fun time, and YouTube versus Spotify and have arguments. But wrestling's wrestling, and we're in the heart of it. And to be able to see you a couple weeks in a row, it sounds like you're coming down to my hometown on Friday. So to be able to see you Friday and Saturday for Battle for the Belt, another tough California tournament for sure. I appreciate you guys. Go Blue.
Thanks, Brian. You're the man, dude.
Yeah, that was a fun talk, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're always welcome on.
I'm a text away.
All right.
Anytime you need it, brother.
All right. Sounds good. I'll see you
Good
later.
to see you guys. Hey, be safe. Safe travels.
All right.
All right. We'll see you.
See you guys.